And so the Guru Pran says, the sons are chosen, for the soul goes into a place that is called Put, and the son is called Putra. And so the Putra liberates the soul out of Put. And so hence the reason why the sons are chosen to perform the ritual. Garud goes on to ask, and you know what he's asking? He's asking what kind of preparation is made to perform the rituals of the Antyeshti, the funeral. How must one prepare himself to perform the ritual of the Antyeshti? And so Bhagavan says that one of the things, and he prescribes this is prescribed. He says one of the things to do to prepare yourself to perform the Antyeshti is shaving the hair. You must shave the hair. The Guru Pran says one of the quickest way of purifying the Yajman to perform the ritual is by shaving of the head. The Guru Pran specifies that the hair covering the mund, the center of the head, should remain, forming a choti or a churki. And so depending on the ritual that has to be performed, this churki, this choti has to be knotted to perform the ritual. It has to be knotted, dealing with the energy from the body. Why will you shave the hair? Garud asks, why should one shave hair? And so Bhagavan Vishnu tells Garud, he says, Garud, whatever you eat is stored in your hair. And you have no prolonged period of time to fast to perform the ritual. So one of the quickest way of preparing yourself to perform the ritual is by shaving your hair. Garud then goes on to ask, he's asking now. He says the main person who is performing the ritual, is there a name that he's referred to as? Is he referred to as a name? What is the name of that person who is performing the ritual, the main person? There are 5 people, they perform the rituals. And do you know why 5 people were chosen, Munilal? Do you know why they have 5 people? The Guru Pran says, Bhagavan tells, he says, the main Yajman is called the Kam Karta. Kam Karta, meaning the one who is performing the rituals. He is the one who has been chosen to perform the rituals. Kam Karta. Garud goes on to ask, he says then, after performing this ritual, is there anything that is prohibited by this Kam Karta? Is he prohibited from doing anything after performing the ritual? And then Bhagavan Vishnu says he is prohibited from shaving his hair from that day onwards. No shaving of the face, no shaving of the hair, no cutting of the nails, no grooming of the body happens. Bhagavan Vishnu says no grooming of the body happens. That's why in the time of Pitra Paksh, when you are offering your Tarpan, your Tilanjali, in honor of the Pitris, it is prohibited to shave or to groom the body. You ought not to shave or groom the body. And why? Bhagavan Vishnu says, every offering you make benefits the souls of the Pitris, and indirectly you're offering to them. And so, because of this, you should not groom the body. The body should not be groomed. The body of the person who is performing the ritual and not the person who has died. The body of the person who is performing the ritual should not be groomed. Garud goes on to ask, he says, Pindas are offered on the day of the Antyeshti. What are these pindas offered for? And we spoke yesterday about the first pinda that is offered. Can you remember? The first pinda is offered praying that through this body many promises and vows would have been made. And so now this is the final offering that will come through this body. And so praying that all of the vows and the promises that would have been made will now be shantied, brought to an end. And so the pinda is broken and thrown in different directions right there in the home. The Guru Pran says that the next pinda is offered and it is called Dwar Pinda. Dwar means door. The pinda must be offered at the doorway. When the body is about to leave the home for the final time, it is called the Dwar Pinda. And so this pinda is offered for traveling mercies. It is offered for traveling mercies. The Guru Pran specifies that the third pinda should be offered at a 4-road junction. Would you stop on a 4-road junction to offer a pinda? They will look at you and they will say, But it should be offered on a 4-road junction. The Guru Pran also says that though provisions would have been made and prescriptions are made and the location is specified because of place, date, time, situation and circumstances, if you cannot, then all of the other rituals they're performed on the cremation site. In the funeral, on the day of the Antyeshti, it says simple worship is done. Panch Upachar. Only 5 things are offered on the day of the funeral. 5 things are offered and simple worship is done to Bhagavan Vishnu. What are the 5 things that is offered? 5 things are offered. The first thing is water, symbolic of praying for purification and symbolic of bath. The second thing, chandan. The third thing, gandham, perfume. The fourth thing, mala. That we are offering the mala, the flowers, but the thread or the cord that holds the flowers together is broken. And why is it broken? It is teaching us that on that day, we're breaking the bond that we once shared with the body. And all that will remain behind are the beautiful flowers of memories that that person would have left behind. Garud is asking all of these questions. Garud says, tell me, O Bhagwan, offering these 5 main things in the worship. We stopped at the 4th one. The 4th one was the flower. What is the 5th one? The 5th one is the arti. You must wave the arti. Garud asked, he says, Bhagwan, after performing these rituals, then what happens? And so Bhagwan says, chanting of the pratnas, praying to me, Bhagwan Vishnu, on behalf of the soul, praying for the atonement of the sins of this person. Garud then asked, he says, any ritual is performed at home? What rituals are performed at home beside this? Bhagwan says, the Panchak Shanti, the offering of the dolls. We listened to that yesterday. And the offering of the pindas, they are done at home. Bhagwan Vishnu then says, he says, before the body makes its exit out of the home, water is poured in a north-south direction. Scripture has prescribed this, and it must be performed by an in-law, a person who has joined the family. Because why? Why a person who has joined the family? Is because the soul is leaving here now to go on its journey. And chances are it will rejoin another family. And that's why an in-law is chosen to perform the ritual. Why? Why is it poured from north to south? Because the soul's journey is in a southern direction. He also goes on to say, he said, pouring this water is praying for safe transition on behalf of the soul. Praying for that there will be no crosses and negative energies. Bhagwan says, an ashavad is given to this deceased person when he is leaving by the sprinkling of rice and flowers. Now that is scriptural. That is not our tradition. That is scriptural. It is a ashavad. Bhagwan Vishnu tells Garud, he says, Garud, an ashavad is given by showering of the rice. Now, making its way to the cremation site, what will happen? Something will happen. Bhagwan Vishnu continues to tell Garud. The stops are made. And so the first stop is made at home, and then all the other stops, they're made on the cremation site. Why? They're chanting the elements of the body. What are the elements? Agni Tattva, Vayu Tattva, Jal Tattva, Prithvi Tattva, and Akash Tattva. What are these? Water, earth, air, fire, and space. And so the 5 elements, they all shanti. And so they shanti using the mantras. It says the place where the cremation should take place should be liped with gobar. Do we do that? Do we do that? It should be liped with gobar. It says then, after the chitta is consecrated, the body is prepared for cremation. What should be placed on the body for the cremation? And why are these things being placed there? Havan has to happen. But the body is going to be now the Purnahuti, the final offering into the fire. It is going to be this sacrificial, sacred offering that will be placed in the fire. And so all of the ahutis, they are placed to adorn the body. Bhagwan Vishnu says this samagri. The ingredients are the ingredients that we use: rice and sugar and gugul and til and ghee and camphor and dried tulsi branches and nutmeg and clove and stick spice, and it specifies, it gives an elaborate explanation of all of these things. For every single one of these ingredients brings about a certain amount of purification. And so these things are used to adorn the body for the cremation. Gold. Pieces of gold, they are placed the major gateways of the body. Why? We listen to that if a person dies wearing gold, then the soul, chances are the soul will get mukti, salvation. But the Guru Pran says, no, we don't know which part of the body the soul exited from, for sure. So we put the pieces of gold on the eyes and the nostrils and all of the exits of the body, praying that wherever the soul would have exited from, may the soul be granted mukti, salvation. And that's the reason why. Also, there is a school of thought that says that it is a reminder for all of those who are attending that though the eyes would have seen many things, there is nothing that the eye could have seen to save that person from death. And so, it says, on the lip of the person who has died, the tulsi leaf is placed and the sandalwood. Why? Why is it placed on the mouth? Why is it placed on the mouth? The first place that is ignited on the body is the mouth. Why? Because Agni or the fire god lives in the mouth, can be compared to that of fire. The Guru Pran says that the body is placed into the chitta. And as the body is placed into the chitta, the Guru Pran specifies that the ghee, I'm going to tell you this, it sounds very horrific, but it is still practiced in India till today. The Guru Pran says the mund, the head of the person who has died, should be filled with ghee. The Guru Pran says that on the ground where the Havan will be performed, lines are drawn, 7 lines, chanting the mantras, Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, praying that may this place now be sanctified like all of the holy cities in India, where if death would have come in any one of these holy cities, your soul would have instantly gotten mukti, salvation. And now worship is about to be done and Havan is about to be performed. Agni Devata, the fire god that is worshipped on the cremation site, he is not called Agni. He has a name. Do you know his name? Do you know what he's called? Agni Devata, who is worshipped on the cremation site, his name is not Agni. His name is Kravyavahai. Kravyavahai is his name. And so Kravyavahai Agni, the Havan that is done on the cremation site is not the Havan that you will ever hear at your home or anywhere else. Why it specifies that dry branches should be used? Because the tree, in order for the branches to be dry, it means the tree is not alive. And so why tulsi branches it is specified that must be placed on the body? Do you know why? Bhagwan Vishnu is the Pradhan deity that is being worshipped. But the only person that has the ability to pacify Lord Vishnu is Mata. And so if the being would have been sinful, whatever, we're praying to Bhagwan Vishnu that may you make this transition peaceful, O Lord Vishnu. And through Mother Lakshmi, we beg that the transition will be a peaceful one. See how logical it is? See how logical it is? And so now, as the Havan would have been performed and the cremation is about to happen, they walk around 5 times holding the torch. Have you ever seen? Well, in Trinidad we hold a puchara. Walking around 5 times, the mantras are chanted, praying that may the elements and the senses and all of these things be placed to rest, and praying for the atonement of the soul, praying that the transition will be peaceful for the soul. The Guru Pran says that the fire is ignited first on the mouth because Agni or the fire god lives in the mouth, and so then the entire body is set ablaze. After this is done, Tarpan is offered. Tarpan, water Tilanjali. There is no longer body, the body will be burnt to ashes, to zero. And now the offerings are being made on behalf of the Pret. For a soul exiting the body, is referred to or called a pret. It is referred to as a pret. That's why in the funeral and until you perform the bandara on the 12th or the 13th day, it is prohibited. According to scripture, it is prohibited. And let me say that again. It is prohibited to sing the Hanuman Chalisa. Why? Because the Hanuman Chalisa says, Bhuta Preta Pisash Nikat Nahi Aave Mahabir Jaba Naam Sunave. Wherever the name of Lord Hanuman is chanted, the Bhut and the Pret and the Pisash, they have to flee from that place. And so if the soul is called a pret and you're praying and offering the pinda on behalf of the soul and then singing the Chalisa and chasing away the soul, then what will happen? We contradict the entire thing. That is not my opinion. It is the words of the Garud Puran. It is not my opinion. And so, Garud, he goes on to ask, why is it called Til Anjali? Why is it called Til Anjali? Any idea? Til Anjali. Black till, white till, brown. The color till that is used in the after death ceremonies is black till. Anjali means that the till and water must be offered with the palm of the hands. Til Anjali. That's why it is called Til Anjali. It specifies that it must be offered through the thumb and the index finger of the right hand. Why? Why the thumb and the index finger of the right hand? Why not anywhere else? Because it says, if you offer forward, it is called Dev Tirtha. Dev Tirtha means that the offering goes to the Devatas. But when you offer through the right hand, index finger and thumb, it is called Pitra Tirtha. Pitra Tirtha means that the offering goes to the Pitras, the Pitris. And so that's why you offer through the right hand, index finger and thumb. And that's why the oblations are poured through there. That's why even when you're offering the pinda, you offer the pinda as though you're pitching a marble. That's how it is offered, so that it will come through Pitra Tirtha, like this. And so that is the reason why. After offering the tarpan, it specifies that water should be taken from that place where the cremation happens. And that water should be taken to the home, where now it will be offered on the kush grass as tarpan. The first water that should be offered should be that water that is brought from the river or the ocean or that place where the cremation happened. And so it should be placed in a ghat. Ghat means an earthen pot hanging over the kush grass to drip. Garud goes on to ask, he says, why kush grass? What is kush grass? Why kush grass? Kush grass. Bhagavan Vishnu says the kush grass is symbolic of the hairs of my body. And so he says that in order to make the offering, the kush grass must be knotted. Why do we knot the kush grass? The ordinary mind thinks that you're tying down the soul. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says the soul cannot be burnt, the soul cannot be cut, the soul cannot be buried, the soul cannot be anything. Nothing befalls the soul. No affliction befalls the soul. Always remember that. And so, the kush grass is knotted. Why do we knot the kush grass? Lord Vishnu says that living in the kush grass at the root is Lord Brahma. Living in the middle is me. And living at the tip is Lord Shiva. He says, knotting the grass halfway, all of the offerings that you make go directly to me. And that's the reason why you knot the grass. So that the offerings are poured not to Lord Shiva and they don't go to Lord Brahma, but they come to me, Lord Vishnu. And that's the reason why we knot the grass. That's the reason why the grass is knotted. Sarva Pitra. You need to tie one grass. And you need to make the offerings. One offering. In honor of Sarva Pitri. All of the Pitras. Bhagavan Vishnu says not the grass. He also specifies that the offering should be made in the southwestern corner of the yard. Southwestern corner is the spot that is chosen to make the oblations to the Pitris. The day after the cremation, what happens? The bones are collected. And so the bones are washed with milk. And so they are placed in a ghat. And being placed in this ghat, the ghat is filled with milk and tulsi and till. And so this is offered into the ocean, the water. The Garud Puran says, Bhagavan Vishnu tells Garud, he says, offering these bones into the water, praying that his soul will get mukti, salvation. Everything that you're doing is praying for the soul to get mukti, salvation. Praying that the soul will never return in the cycle of birth and death. And so why water? Because you remember the Katha from the Shiva Puran, where Bhagirathi, the great king, prayed that Lord Shiva will, actually he was praying to Lord Vishnu. And why he was praying to Lord Vishnu? Because all of his descendants, they were burnt to ashes. And so Bhagirathi started to pray, and praying to Lord Vishnu, he was singing to Lord Vishnu what he was saying. And as the ashes was lying everywhere, Bhagirathi knew that the only thing that he could do to liberate their souls was to put the ashes in the Ganga. But it was too much ashes, and it was impossible for him to gather all of the ashes. So Bhagirathi instead started to pray to Lord Vishnu. And why? Because the Ganga was flowing from the little toe of Lord Vishnu. But when Bhagirathi prayed to Lord Vishnu says, Bhagirathi, I am willing to allow the Ganga to come on the earth. But if this water were to fall on the earth, the entire creation will be destroyed. Bhagirathi, I have an idea. Go to Lord Shiva and ask Lord Shiva that the Ganga will fall on his head first, and then it will trickle down onto the earth. And Bhagirathi went to Lord Shiva, and praying to Lord Shiva, Bhagirathi says, Lord Shiva, please, I am begging you, can you receive the Ganga? And Lord Shiva says, yes, I will receive the Ganga. And so the Ganga fell from the toe of Lord Vishnu onto the jata of Lord Shiva. And so Lord Shiva pulled one strand of his hair, and he said to Bhagirathi, drive your chariot, and wherever your chariot go, the Ganga will follow you. And take the Ganga to this place where the ashes will be. And that's how the place got the name Rishikesh. Kesh is bone, the bones of the Rishi. And so the Ganga flows in this place called Rishikesh, washing the bones of the Rishis, so that all of them, their souls will get mukti, salvation. And that's why it is called Rishikesh. Why? It is called Haridwar, the doorway of Lord Hari. Who is Lord Hari? Lord Vishnu. And that's why the Ganga flows to Haridwar, the doorway of Lord Vishnu. It says the Ganga begins in a place that is called Gomukh. Have you ever heard about Gomukh? The Ganga begins to flow from on top of a mountain. Nobody could explain why or how it happened. From this place called Gomukh. And why it is called Gomukh? Go comes from the word Gau, which means the cow. Mukh means mouth. When you look at this place where the water is flowing from, it resembles the mouth of a cow, Gomukh. And so Gomukh is a place that is closed for many, many months in the year, and you are only permitted to go for certain times. But when you go there, you have to take a bath in that freezing cold water. And so the water of the Ganges is always cold, very cold, freezing cold. And that's why you put the ashes, Judy, after the body is cremated in all that heat, you put the ashes in the cold to bring some kind of ease, some kind of... It says, the bones and the ashes alike, they're all placed. And from that day onwards, a pinda and tarpan is offered in the name of the person who has died. It becomes preta bhog, the food of the soul. It now becomes the food of the soul. And so we offer. The Garud Puran says to us, it appears to be a long time. For the soul, it appears to be a very short time. And so now, after performing these rituals, it says, after collecting the bones on the evening, you perform a ceremony that is called Dur Mohi. Have you ever heard about that? Dur Mohi. Dur is Dur Mohi. This ritual is performed where a khichdi is prepared using urdi and all of the nice things, milk. And so this is offered with milk at the kushgras in the evening time, in the night time, Dur Mohi. And so it is offered there. I said that I'm going to ask some contrary questions, and some questions that you and I, we become very confused about. Should flowers be burnt when there is a cremation? Should flowers be burnt when there is a cremation? Is it right or wrong to burn flowers? Do we burn flowers in puja? Have you ever burnt flowers in puja? Then why is it right to burn flowers in cremations? Why is it right then? If it is prohibited from puja, then why do you think it is right when you do the cremation? Many different things that the Guru Puran tell us.